Moving to France with Jamie. I emptied our savings. Good luck paying rent. That's what she sent. No greeting, no punctuation. Just cruelty and efficiency, like an automated bank alert. Only this one had perfume and a plane ticket. I read it while holding a plastic Tupperware full of half-eaten grapes, waiting for my daughter to finish gluing popsicle sticks into what her preschool called a habitat. She waved from across the classroom, oblivious. Still believed her mother was out shopping for almond milk. I typed back, "Thanks for letting me know." Then I turned off notifications. Permanently. At the exit, her teacher hesitated while handing me the clipboard. "Lauren said you were traveling," she said gently, "but Emma mentioned you'd be picking her up all week." I signed without looking up. "That's right." She nodded, understanding more than she said. "My name is Gabriel. I'm 41. I work in transit systems management for the city. 11 years. No scandals. No sick days. I fix things people don't even notice are broken. I'm not the loudest guy in the room, but I usually know where the power lines run. Lauren and I were married for 7 years. I brought stability. She brought passion. Translation. I paid bills while she talked about writing a book in Paris. Spoiler. She never wrote a word. Emma isn't Lauren's biologically. She was 2 when my first wife passed. Lauren stepped in when things were quiet. She stayed because things stayed quiet, until she got bored. I'm not surprised by the message. I'm surprised she waited this long. Emma climbed into the back seat of the car and asked if we still had cereal. She meant dinner. I said yes. Then she asked, "When will Mommy call me from Paris?" I kept my eyes on the road. "Maybe not today." She nodded. "That's okay. I like when it's just us." We passed the condo Lauren and I shared. Lights were on. Her car wasn't there. Maybe she Ubered to the airport. Maybe Jamie picked her up in the same Audi he leased with his ex-wife's alimony. I didn't look twice. At the next red light, I opened a folder on my phone labeled Plan B. Just a glance. The balances were where I left them. So were the scanned copies of documents Lauren never knew I kept. She booked the flight using my points. Forgot to log out of the travel portal 2 weeks ago. Jamie R. was listed as the second passenger. I didn't say a word. I didn't feel clever. I felt prepared. There's a difference. Back home, I carried Emma to the couch. She was half asleep, one shoe missing, glitter on her cheek from an art project labeled Space Volcano. I covered her with the same blanket she kicked off every night and walked down the hall. There's a closet we never used. Technically hers, but she never cared for storage. Inside, behind a stack of old towels and a suitcase with a broken zipper, there's a white box. Cardboard, faded label, still sealed. Next to it, almost hidden behind an old robe, sat a small glass bottle, the perfume she wore every day, still full. She packed designer boots but forgot her scent. At the bottom of the box, Emma's old hospital wristband, and a tiny beaded bracelet that spelled her name in faded pink letters. Souvenirs shouldn't become evidence, but some things I lock away, just in case. I looked at that bracelet and said to myself, not revenge, just maintenance. Same skill set, different tracks. I stepped into the bedroom. One photo still sat on the nightstand, our wedding day, framed in silver. I didn't throw it out. I just turned it face down. Before bed, I made a peanut butter sandwich. No plate, just bread, knife, and quiet. I didn't check the bank app. I didn't call anyone. I didn't write anything down. But I did one thing. I walked to the file cabinet, second drawer, behind tax returns and school forms, pulled out a thick envelope, stamped, dated, addressed to someone Lauren never knew existed. I placed it next to the coffee maker, not for tonight, but soon. The last normal Saturday I remember started with a loose valve under the kitchen sink. Took me 20 minutes, 3 towels, and a headlamp to fix it. Emma sat on the counter narrating everything I did like a cooking show. And now Daddy's gonna use the silver wrench, not the red one. Because the red one makes it worse. She wasn't wrong. Lauren walked in wearing her navy yoga set, earbuds still in. "You're doing that now?" she asked, glancing at the water on the floor. "I like when we still have a floor," I said, tightening the last bolt. She grabbed a smoothie from the fridge and kissed Emma's head. Not mine. Back then it didn't register. Lauren had entered our lives quietly. I was still rebuilding from a loss, operating on routine and autopilot. Emma was too. Lauren came around with books and muffins and quiet afternoons. Emma called her the lady with the soft voice. That stuck. She didn't push. She just stayed. We moved into a modest condo. I refinanced, put Lauren on the health plan, paid off her credit card debt. She said it was from grad school. I never saw a degree, but I wasn't looking for one. I wanted presence. Emma needed calm. Lauren talked about writing. Paris, eventually. I printed a picture of the Eiffel Tower and taped it to the fridge. She laughed. Said it made it feel more real. I believed her. Over the years, I handled the money, the school meetings, the power outages. I kept things running. Birthday parties on a budget. Backyard camping when flights were too expensive. Silent sacrifices. That's what dads do. One night, Lauren had a panic attack. I canceled a 2-day certification course and stayed home with Emma. I didn't complain. I didn't reschedule. I just made sure the fridge had almond milk and Emma had glitter glue for her art project. When Lauren's mom needed dental surgery, I booked the flights and paid the deductible. She called me reliable. That was her word for me. Reliable. I wore it like a badge. I never asked Lauren to adopt Emma. It wasn't about paperwork. It was about presence. And she was present until she wasn't. It started with little things. She joined a meditation group that met at 6 a.m., even on Sundays. Her phone had a new lock code. She changed shampoos, started saying, "This house feels small." One night she posted a quote, "You can't fly while dragging anchors." Someone commented with a red heart. A month later, Emma came home with a drawing of our family. Lauren wasn't in it. I asked why. "She's always out," Emma said, like a way out. Lauren came home late that night, said she'd been thinking about her next chapter. I nodded. She didn't owe me a table of contents. A week later, I saw an unfamiliar charge on our joint account, $400 from a place called Maison Blanche, a boutique hotel downtown. She told me it was a gift card for a friend. I didn't press, but I did notice. She stopped wearing her wedding ring, said it made her finger itch. I offered to get it resized. She said maybe later. She never brought it up again. One evening, I was putting away laundry and noticed the suitcases in the closet were rearranged. The large Samsonite was missing. So was the travel adapter I kept in the side pocket. Emma had a fever that night. Lauren said she had an early meeting and went to bed with earplugs in. I sat in the hallway with a thermometer and a wet cloth, listening to my daughter's breathing steady out. I looked down at her small hand clutching mine and told myself, "You don't lose everything at once, you just stop noticing the pieces." The next morning, Lauren made coffee and asked if we still had her passport. I said yes. I didn't ask why. She smiled, kissed Emma, and said she had some exciting news soon. That night I got up for water and saw her phone lit on the counter. One message stood out on the lock screen. "JR sent you a voice note." I didn't touch it. I just turned the screen face down and stood there in the dark a little longer than I needed to. I woke up to an empty apartment and a zero balance in our joint account. Emma's cereal sat untouched, her bunny pajamas still on the floor. Lauren hadn't taken everything, just the parts that mattered. I called the bank. The transfer was recent, full amount, legal, technically. She'd removed my name from the account a week earlier, said it was for security. "I'll need a PDF of the transaction," I told the clerk. She asked if I wanted to dispute it. "No, just the record." She paused before sending it. Emma's school called that afternoon. The driver hadn't picked her up. Apparently, Lauren had emailed the new administrator saying Emma wouldn't need transportation anymore. I picked her up myself. Emma looked confused. Miss Jenna said she thought Mommy forgot me, she whispered in the back seat. I didn't respond. Just checked her seatbelt again and turned the heat up. The principal met me at the gate, friendly tone but hesitant. She also mentioned some challenges at home, emotional instability. That was the word she used. Instability. Lauren wasn't just gone. She was laying groundwork. I got home and checked Lauren's social media. She had changed her profile picture, new city skyline behind her, her hand holding Emma's, Jamie in the background, blurry but obvious. The caption said, "Sometimes you have to leap." I zoomed in on Emma's face, not sad, not smiling either. The next day I called Lauren, straight to voicemail. I tried the number again with my work phone, same result. I checked with my lawyer. International travel with a child without consent? Complicated, especially if the mother's name is on everything. We were never married. She never legally adopted Emma. But she had power of presence. That's harder to undo. The job started noticing. I was late, distracted. I missed a client call for the first time in 6 years. My supervisor left a sticky note on my monitor. "Let me know if you need time. We've all been there." Had we? The next week, a neighbor asked me what happened. Said Lauren had posted something about surviving emotional absence. Said I looked tired but strong. Another neighbor offered casserole. I declined both. On Friday, I found Emma crying in her room. A drawing torn up on the floor. She said she showed it to Jamie and he laughed. Said it didn't make sense because we don't live together anymore. "Why doesn't he like me?" she asked. I didn't answer. That night, I opened an old email folder, the one from when Lauren used to plan our future trips. There was a contact there, someone she'd mentioned once, a woman named Hélène, who ran an arts nonprofit in Paris. I sent a message under a different name, friendly tone, asked if Lauren had arrived. 3 hours later, I got a reply. "Oui, she's here, with the little one. They're settling in." I logged into an international database and searched for Jamie's full name. His legal name, not the one he used on social. 5 entries popped up. One of them linked to a residency application filed 4 weeks prior. Co-applicant, Lauren M. It wasn't approved yet. I printed the form, slipped it into a folder and left it on the table. Saturday morning, I took Emma to the park. She stayed close the whole time, wouldn't go near the swings. At home, she asked if she could call me Daddy again. "Of course," I said. "Why wouldn't you?" She hesitated. "Jamie said I shouldn't, that it confuses people." I nodded, then dried the dishes in silence. Later that evening, I sat at the kitchen table with the envelope. Inside, printouts, notarized forms, and a signed statement from Emma's school counselor, verifying I'd been her sole provider and emergency contact since birth. I didn't write a letter. Didn't need to. When I was done, I sealed the envelope and slid it into the inside pocket of my blazer. Emma slept on the couch beside me, cartoons still playing. Her fingers curled around the remote. I looked down at her, then at the television, then at the clock. 3:14 a.m. Still too early to call France. I mailed the envelope on a Tuesday morning. International priority, return receipt requested. No cover letter, just records, documents, affidavits. Enough truth to fill a courtroom. It arrived in Paris 3 days later. No reply, not a call, not an email. Just a single line update from the tracking site. Delivered, signed, Jamie. That Friday, Lauren posted a quote. White background, black serif font, her style. Some people cling to power they never really had. No photo, no tags. 2 hours later, I got an email. From Jamie, not Lauren. Subject: Parental coordination request. The message was cold. Any attempts to interfere with Emma's relocation will be viewed as harassment and may trigger legal escalation. We encourage mutual respect and healthy co-parenting boundaries. I didn't reply. Later that afternoon, I got a call from Emma's new school in Paris. A polite French woman, English flawless, said, "We need a copy of any legal documentation affirming your parental rights. It's standard. For our files." They were checking my footing. Quietly, officially. I wasn't losing just time. I was losing position. I called my lawyer, in the States, family law specialist with a focus on international custody. She asked one question. Was the relocation consensual? No. And were you on the birth certificate? Yes. She exhaled. Then we move, but we do it clean, strategic, not emotional. Within a week, we filed a formal notice of violation of custodial rights. The filing included Emma's school records, statements from her teachers, medical bills, and Lauren's posted content. Our lawyer sent a letter to the U.S. consulate in Paris and copied Lauren and Jamie. 3 days passed. Then Emma called. She was crying. "I didn't mean to get anyone in trouble," she said between breaths. Mommy yelled. "She said you were trying to ruin everything." What did Jamie say? He told her to calm down, that this is why we left. She paused. Did I do something wrong? I closed my eyes. You did nothing wrong. That night, Lauren posted a video. She never mentioned my name, but the timing wasn't subtle. The caption, "To all the single mothers fighting against toxic control, this is for you." The video showed Emma drawing quietly at a desk, Lauren narrating in voiceover. Sometimes we escape for our children. Sometimes we fight to protect them from people who hide behind paperwork and legalese. It hit a nerve. Thousands of comments, dozens of shares. A small blog picked it up, then a parenting forum. I watched a comment thread unfold in real time. She's so brave. Where's the father? Why isn't he stepping up? Classic narcissist move. Custody over connection. Men only care when they lose control. Control, that word again. My lawyer called 2 days later. They're building a narrative. If they file for emergency guardianship in France and frame you as unstable, it could work. So what do? We escalate, carefully. The next step is diplomatic. You ready for that? Yes. The paperwork moved fast. The legal brief went to the American Embassy, the French Central Authority, and 2 child advocacy groups. It wasn't about winning. It was about anchoring the truth. Emma had lived in the U.S. her entire life. She was enrolled, stable, healthy. I had proof of every pediatric visit, every parent-teacher meeting, every rent payment. But emotionally, I was fraying. One night, Emma called again. This time, she didn't cry. She just asked, "Do you still have my bunny backpack?" "Yes." "Can you keep it safe for me?" "I already do." She hung up. "No, I miss you." "No, I love you." Just silence. That was worse. The next week, I got an alert on my phone. A live stream. Lauren again. This time she cried on camera. Said she felt unsafe. Said she had evidence of emotional neglect. She never showed it. Never said my name. But by the end of the stream, donations were coming in, comments flooding. She was now a hero. That weekend, I stayed in Emma's room, not to grieve, to remember. There was a small box on her shelf, one Lauren had left behind. Inside, a photo of the 3 of us, Emma on my shoulders, Lauren holding my hand. I turned it over. In Lauren's handwriting, "For when we get to Paris, don't forget to laugh." I folded the photo once, slid it into the same envelope that had started this all. No plan, no message, just a reminder. The letter arrived on a Thursday. Official envelope, U.S. seal. No return address. Inside, a notification. The American consulate in Paris had formally petitioned for a joint custody review. A hearing was set for the following Monday. Private session, no media, both parties required. Lauren was listed. So was Jamie. I read the letter twice, folded it, slipped it behind a magnet on the fridge. Didn't smile, didn't celebrate, Just poured coffee and watched the sky get darker. That weekend, my attorney called. "We have an opportunity," she said. "A real one." She forwarded a short clip from Emma's former school. From last year. Emma stood in front of a cardboard diorama, beaming. On the table, a small lunchbox with stickers. Inside, a sandwich and a note. She read it aloud. "To Emma, you are loved more than words. Love, Dad." She held up the sandwich. "My daddy makes the best lunches. Even the crusts are good." My lawyer's voice came through the line. "Do we include it?" I said yes. Not to win. Just to remind. Monday came. The courtroom was French, clean, bare wood, no flag, no drama. Lauren arrived first, hair straightened, neutral colors, Jamie by her side in a charcoal suit that didn't quite fit. He didn't look at me. Lauren did. Briefly. Then the hearing began. The magistrate asked questions in French. Our interpreters worked fast. Lauren framed the move as spontaneous but necessary. Jamie claimed he was supportive, not directive. My attorney presented 3 things: my visitation record, the school transfer without consent, the lunchbox video. The judge watched in silence. When the clip ended, no one spoke. Not Lauren, not Jamie. Just the sound of paper being shifted. The ruling came fast. Emma would return to the U.S. for 90 days while the court reassessed shared custody. Any unilateral removal in the future would trigger penalties. Lauren was ordered to suspend public commentary and remove any monetized content involving our daughter. The ruling wasn't punishment, it was protection. Outside the courtroom, Jamie stopped me. His tone was low, controlled. "You think this makes you a hero?" "No," I said. "But it does make me her father." I kept walking. Later that afternoon, my lawyer asked if I wanted to pursue damages. Emotional harm, alienation, defamation. She said we had grounds. I looked at Emma, sitting on a bench in the embassy courtyard, coloring quietly, her legs swinging. She wore the same sneakers she'd left in, same untied laces. I said, "Let her keep the followers, I'll keep the afternoons." That night I packed Emma's bag. Only essentials, no dramatics. She asked if I still had the bunny backpack. I nodded. Of course. She didn't ask for it back. Just smiled. As we boarded the plane, she held my hand. Halfway through the flight, she reached into her seat pouch and pulled out a folded drawing. A blue bunny. Crooked, familiar. She placed it on the tray table between us. No words. Just that. And I finally exhaled. We landed at 8:42 a.m., same airport, same sky. But Emma held my hand tighter this time, like she knew. She carried her own backpack, the one with the crooked bunny stitched on the side. I didn't say much on the way home, neither did she. But when we turned onto our street, she looked out the window and whispered, "It smells like pancakes." We unpacked slowly. No rush, no checklist. Just clothes, a few books, and the blue bunny, placed back on her bed, like it had never moved. The apartment felt smaller, calmer. The silence wasn't heavy anymore, it was full. The next morning I made breakfast. 2 plates, French toast, strawberries, a little powdered sugar. Her favorite. Emma drew while she ate, markers scattered across the table. I didn't ask what it was, just watched her color. After the dishes were done, I folded the drawing she left behind. It was another bunny, still blue. But this one was smiling. I tucked it into my wallet, right next to the old photo. Later that day, I opened the hallway closet and pulled down a box labeled Emma. Inside, old shoes, baby socks, her first watercolor painting, and a picture of us from a school trip, the one where she held my hand and pointed at the horses. I left most of it untouched, but I took the photo and slipped it out of its frame. In its place, I inserted the new one. Emma sitting on the front steps, bunny in hand, the sun in her face. The old picture didn't go in the trash, just in a drawer, not forgotten, just replaced. That afternoon, she asked to play outside. I watched her through the kitchen window, tracing circles in the grass, arms wide like she was flying. She didn't need words. Neither did I. I dried the last plate, turned off the faucet, and leaned against the counter. Some stories don't end with fireworks. Some just fade into presence. She stole my money, my story, and my daughter. I took it all back, without raising my voice. The gentleman's revenge isn't loud, but it's always personal. If this felt personal, make it personal. Subscribe now, and don't miss tomorrow's story.